All right. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com, and Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. Right, we'll get into it here. Hope your Tuesday is off to a terrific start. Let's see, pin, boom. All right, another day has brought more portal news. So if you missed it, we learned early in the day that the wide receiver Jenkins has entered the transfer portal. Oh, excuse me, forgive me. I need to redo the title there, the description. Jenkins did not enter the portal. Forgive me. Jenkins declared for the draft. Forgive me. That's my bad. I have it wrong on the description. So if you're watching this live, I will go. I will go update it. So my apologies. So Jenkins, of course, enters the draft. Not a surprise. Could have left last year, and probably wouldn't have faulted him if he chose to do so. A big, fast, physical receiver who also is a good deep threat. For his career was a very productive player and is probably going to be most known for the big plays that he had. So he was a freshman on that 2019 team. Played in 7 games, had 5 catches for 67 yards. Then during the COVID year, played in all 10 games. Started 7 times at 397 receiving yards, a couple of touchdowns. 21 was kind of the breakout year. 34 catches for 502, 6 touchdowns, and 6 touchdowns again this year. So he was the guy that found the end zone and had certainly big play ability. Averaged, his yards per catch is what's kind of staggering. 13.4, 17.3, 14.8, and then this year 15 yards per reception. So good luck to Could have taken advantage of a COVID year if he wanted to and come back for a 5th season, but he's off to the NFL draft and don't blame him. But that also underscores another reason why, of course, now Jere's off to the draft and Jack Besh is in the portal. Of course, you get Kayshawn back, but and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and Chris Hill will be coming off of injury. But one of the things we've told you is they are going to be looking for a receiver in the portal, and one of the guys maybe to keep an eye on is Aaron Anderson. So Aaron Anderson, who was a 5-star from Louisiana, picked Alabama, played his true freshman season this year in Tuscaloosa, and announced yesterday he's entering the portal. And so he's the 13th Alabama player to enter the portal. He's he was the 21st overall player in the country, so he was a top 25 player in the country. And Brian Kelly's talked about prioritizing Louisiana guys in the transfer portal, and he would certainly be one of them. So I'm telling you that what I was told months ago is their targets in the portal were going to be edge players, tight end, receiver, corners. And then if they can get a game-breaking running back, and then they'll look at quarterback depending on what they decide to need. So anyway, and then Derek Davis entered the portal. So Jenkins draft, Derek Davis portal. Davis is interesting. He was another one of the top players in the country who came in as a safety and late this year, of course, against UAB, switched to running back out of necessity. And Brian Kelly said we should move to running back sooner. Really looked natural. That position was a great high school running back. And just a little bit of logjam at running back, which is odd because if he came back at safety, he'd probably have a really good chance to play. With Jay Ward going, of course, Joe Fouché has used up his eligibility, so Davis would really be in line to play safety. But if he wants to play running back, Josh Williams is back, Armani Goodwin's coming off of injury, Emery and Kane certainly both could come back for another year if they want. Then you got 2 freshmen coming in, so. I could understand where he may look and say, let me go somewhere where I can play, which is apparently what it feels like. So Davis is the latest enter the portal. Truax, what's good? Trey Fisher, David Coslin, Chuck Sanchez, what's up, Chuck? Get it? Up, Chuck? Lowell Cormier, yeah, man, disheartening news concerning Coach Leach. The report from Steve Robertson is that Mike Leach is currently what amounts to hospice care. They're making him comfortable while family makes decisions. So, man, just a very sad situation. Henry Gordon Bennett, good morning, Matt. Aaron Anderson solves your special teams problems immediately. John Bro, good morning. Good Mr. Ray and BJ, great players, great team guys, absolutely. Kelly Gross, Jason Austin, Brian Wynn, good morning. YouTube, do me a favor, please smash that like button. Good morning, Caleb, Wendell Norman, Matthew Vincent, Jason H., good morning from Queens, New York. Okay. Jesus Gutierrez, if Ricks commits to LSU, is he a day one starter? So he's talking about Desmond Ricks, who's the 5-star cornerback in this 2023 class. And probably, I would tell you, it would depend on what you were able to do in the portal. For example, we talked yesterday about Denver Harris. Denver Harris is an A&M guy who suspended a couple of times, one and done, former 5-star, at one point was the number 1 cornerback in the country last year. If Brian Kelly decides they want to extend an offer there, that's a guy that would make a lot of sense to be a day one starter. Does Seven Banks come back? You see what I mean? Like, there's some competition, but he would certainly be in the mix, undeniably, undoubtedly. Brian Irwin, morning, Matt. Yeah. He said, is Derek Davis entering the portal a surprise? Wasn't Brian Kelly just talking about the fact he was excited Derek has moved to running back? Well, yeah, what he was talking about, Bryant, was that they made the decision to redshirt him, because he played so well against UAB and that was his 4th game, and they were like, we're going to preserve his year of eligibility. And, maybe he already knew he was leaving or likely leaving, and so that extra year of eligibility helps him wherever he might go. So I'm a little surprised, but just because he decided to take the red shirt. But I'll tell you, man, for the reasons we just talked about, if they were planning on playing him at running back, LSU is going to have a logjam there next year, especially if Emery and Kane come back. So we'll wait on those decisions, but that's a position where you could be a little crowded. You went from being really thin to pretty crowded next year potentially. Jesse Brown, good morning. Hope Drew's doing well. He is, so thank you. We for those that were here yesterday, I told you we were going to Drew's cardiology appointment, and it was probably the best checkup we've had of his whole life. So, he's on a lot of meds, but I don't want to go too detailed into what Drew's condition is because I don't want to confuse people. But suffice to say that at one point his issue was classified as severe, and yesterday they classified it as mild. So as he's grown, I'm not going to say that his issue is resolved, but I'll oversimplify it, like he's got a leaking valve. and the degree of leak was severe and is now mild. So basically, as he's grown, that valve has grown with him, which is a good thing. So great appointment yesterday with Drew. Father John David Mathern, good morning. Scone, any timetable on Daniel's announcement, hoping he is going to release his statement late and give us some good news. Yeah, I don't, and I've asked, and no one seems to be ready to leak. Like, I mean, I'll tell y'all, the Jack Besh stuff we had kind of heard the week before the SEC championship game. I think, Brian Kelly had gone through those conversations with all those guys, but for whatever reason, haven't really been able to get much on Daniels. So what he's planning to do or timing the announcement. So, and something I said yesterday that I'll continue to remind you is the draft declaration deadline is January 20th. That's 18 days after the bowl game. So it's entirely possible that he's just rehabbing his ankle, getting ready to play in that game, and then we'll make a decision after. Like, that is totally plausible. So we'll see. Joseph Feltwell, has Rashid earned the number 2 wide receiver spot? Seems to me like he's outplayed everyone but Olave. Talking about Rashid Shaheed, and no, and I'll tell you, Joseph, I mean, look, he's played well, and he certainly deserved reps and targets, but the thing I'll tell you is that's similar to maybe the situation a year ago with Marquez Callaway, where you can look and say, all right, well, I like him a lot as a number 3. I don't like him so much as a number 1. And that may be the thing with Rashid Shaheed. If teams are focusing their attention on Olave, Jarvis, that's leaving him open for targets. So play the role, which is a good thing. Don Tomasino, Jenkins made the catch against A&M to win last year. But yeah, probably the biggest catch of his career. That, and then this year, I mean, look, he caught the deep ball against Florida, 54-yarder. He caught what would have been the game-tying touchdown against Florida State had they not had the PAT blocked. But yeah, Jenkins had some big plays in his career for sure. Mark Allen, was Aaron Anderson the player you kept mentioning LSU would be targeting in the portal? I don't know, Mark, what you're referring to. We were talking a few weeks ago about a center, and that's Jake Renfro from Cincinnati. Of course, because this staff has Cincinnati ties, certainly with Mike Denbrock, who was the OC at Cincinnati there with Renfro. So, I do expect them to target and go after Renfro. We'll see. Jason H., any chance Kelly goes after another tight end? Yeah, I mean, they've already offered a tight end in the transfer portal, and a Division II kid from Shorter University, who's 2-time Division II All-American, has a ton of offers. But yes, I mean, absolutely. Cole Taylor leaving leaves you with Mason Taylor, and then Mashburn. Really, Stores is done, and you'll have Mac Markway coming in, the freshman. But yes, they want more depth at tight end, absolutely. I mean, they like to run 2 tight end sets, and they would certainly like a more veteran player, yes. Brad David, Matt, do you think your criticism of Dennis Allen is unfair? How is 1 year enough sample size to evaluate him? It's not 1 year, Brad. I mean, we saw him have a head coaching opportunity with the Raiders, and he was terrible, and he got fired. And I even said at the time, well, it's a bad organization, and he had a bad quarterback situation, and it would have been hard to win there and succeed there. So let's see him now, having learned the lessons from that job with a stable organization and a better roster, and they've fallen apart at the seams, man. I don't know what more you need to see. They are a dramatically worse team now than they were a year ago, and he doesn't really seem to have the answers on how to fix it. And yesterday we're sitting there listening to him, and he's saying they talked about it as a staff, and they need to find a way to get Alvin Kamara more involved in the offense to make plays like he's used to. Like, you're telling me that? Like you didn't know you needed to get Alvin Kamara involved in the offense? He's just not the guy, man. So no, I don't think it's unfair at all. Great defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. Chance Babin, Dalton Barnett, Matthew Vincent, LSU go get another tight end. They are. Jesse Brown, smash the like. But yeah, thank you. If you would, YouTube, please smash that like button. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Reed Rule, good morning. Will Seven Banks be a big contributor next year? I feel like he's getting slept on. It's hard to say people are sleeping on him, Reed, because he spent the majority of his career injured. Really, the majority of the last 3 years injured. So, I mean, when the guy hasn't proven he can stay healthy, it's hard to have expectation. So, what I would say about Seven Banks is, let's see, number one, if he comes back. Number two, if he can stay healthy. Number three, if he can win a job. And then let's be pleasantly surprised if he can. I don't think you throw bouquets to the guy just because he played at Ohio State and showed up here. All right. Hunter Broadhead, Robert Pearson, good morning. What's up with Semino going to Central? Go Bears. Yeah, my understanding is that's it's a money motivated move. David Semino's Catholic High, former Catholic High coach who was leaving Catholic after 2 seasons. I heard about that last week actually. It was late last week. I heard about that, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, that he was leaving. So I know Catholic's already got like a committee together to find a new coach, and some of the names that people would bring up probably are not realistic. But the thing that most people may not understand is, so when you work for a public school, you get in line for number one, Semino is going to make more money at Central than he did at Catholic, and number two, you start to build up toward your retirement. So what a lot of guys do is they'll coach at a public school for 20 years, right? From the time they're young coaches, early mid-20s, whatever, and build up their state retirement, and then maybe go coach at a private school or somewhere where they can sort of just pick their spot, right? So that's my understanding with Semino. Is, you know, he had been at he'd already been previously, I think, an assistant at Central. He obviously was at Parkview as a player, and then came to Catholic from, I believe, Point Capee. But anyway, yeah, I mean, young guy, young family. I get it. Weston Weaver, good morning. Edward O. got the crabs. Morning, Matthew. Sorry to see Davis go. Seemed like he had lots of potential. Praying for Coach Leach and his family. I destroyed the like button. Thank you on all accounts. Brian Penton, good morning. From the border of Missouri and Arkansas. Do you think Terrace Marshall needs to get out of Carolina? I hope after his rookie contract, so Joe Burrow pursues him to go to Cincinnati. Have a big old reunion up there, huh? Well, Brian, I'll tell you, man, I think Cincinnati's probably set at receiver. You know, they got a three-headed monster up there with Boyd, Higgins, and Jamar. I think Terrace is a great player. Carolina's not a great situation. Although Steve Wilkes has done a pretty good job there as the interim. They need a quarterback, clearly. But, you know, I don't know what Terrace is going to end up doing. Keep in mind, this is only his second year, so he's got at least 2 more years in Carolina to finish out his rookie deal. So we'll see. Bailey C. Well, don't get why Payton would come back. Why leave then? What has changed in a year? Well, it's why he was leaving, Bailey, which is, you know, after 16 years, you know, he wanted a recharge, and I get that. And Bailey, we've talked about it for so long with Sean Payton, man. I mean, it just, all the years we had Mike Detillier on the show, he said this over and over and over. And I know not everybody listened to Mike every week, you know, every Thursday, every year, but like I did. I heard everything that man said for 10 years, for an hour, every Thursday, for a decade. I mean, like thousands of hours or, you know, hundreds of hours, certainly, well, if I did 52 shows, 52 weeks a year, let's call it 50 interviews with Mike a year over 10 years. I mean, 500 times Mike Detillier was on the show for an hour. I mean, 500 hours of listening to Mike. How many times I heard him say, Sean Payton is a Bill Parcells disciple. Look at Bill's career. Won Super Bowls with the Giants, left, went did TV for a couple of years, got back in, left again. Like, never stay in one place too long. I mean, it was obvious. I wasn't surprised at all when Sean Payton stepped down. And eventually he'll move into a front office job like Bill did. And but that's why he stepped aside. It wasn't that he hated New Orleans or wanted out or had an issue. I mean, his best friend in football is Mickey Loomis. He knows the roster. He knows the organization. He's got stable ownership, and he knows he can win there. So, I mean, the biggest thing, though, is will the Saints have an opening? And it's really just a matter of if, this final month goes in complete and total spiral mode. Do they decide to move on? If they do, can they get a deal to bring Payton back? I mean, they got his rights for 2 more years. Trey Guy, good morning, Matt. Great to hear the good news on Drew. What are the chances of signing Anderson? Thank you for the nice words about Drew. Chances of signing Anderson, I would say are good. I mean, LSU, I told y'all is going to be, from the beginning, I told y'all they're going to be looking for a deep threat receiver. And he would certainly qualify. And he would, like someone to mention, he would solve your issues as a return man. And he's a Louisiana guy, so he checks a lot of boxes. Brian Payton, Matt, have y'all heard anything on Mike Leach? Nothing new this morning, Brian. But again, the report from Steve Robertson yesterday was that Mike Leach he's basically in comfort care now, which amounts to hospice, and they're making decisions. Family's making decisions. I think everyone kind of has to prepare themselves for what feels like an inevitability now that Dalton Barnett, Randall Alfrecht. Morning, Matt. Would you take Bryce Young with the first pick? He's really short. I don't care that he's really short. And yes, I would take Bryce Young with the first pick. Drew Brees was maybe 6 feet tall. Kyler Murray. I think sometimes we've gotten into this culture where people marry themselves to measurables, and you pass on a great player. Two is short. I heard, who was it? It might have been Kuiper saying that if Tua was 2 inches taller, like if he was 6'2", he would have been the highest rated quarterback since John Elway or something like that. It's crazy. Normal guy, good morning, Reed Rule. Did the Cards fire Kingsbury after the year? Probably. Tim Gotro, Samuel Smith, cheer for the Saints to lose so they have no way to keep DA. It's really hard for me ever to cheer against my team, Samuel. What I would like to see happen is the Saints figure it out and win their next 4 and have the rest of the division collapse and the Saints get in the playoffs. And that's what I'll cheer for because I want my team to win. I also don't think that's realistic, and I don't believe Dennis Allen is the guy, but I'm not cheering for the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. No, I want the Saints to win the game. All right, YouTube, please smash that like button if you're new. Please subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Hey, Dad, good morning. Jeremy Sagely, Talked about Mike Leach, yes. Paul Losi, good morning. Where are we? Kenneth Westbrook, Jason Austin, Ryan Amanda Guidry, Brett LeBlanc, Matt Godwin, Bubba Smith, good morning. Matthew Garner. Did we run any 2 tight end sets this year? Oh my God. Tons. You'd probably have to go to like some Pro Football Focus advanced analytics to see the amount of formations, the number of times they ran 2 tight. But yes, Mason Taylor and Cole Taylor were on the field together a ton. Brian Kelly told us from the beginning that he was going to do that. They were going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. So yes, they did that a ton this year. See if we can just... I'll need to find someone who's got like a PFF subscription to do the advanced analytics to find that info. Craig Dugas, season 1 without Ed, it feels fantastic. Season 1 without the general, I still feel sad, optimistic, but miss the sound bites. First of all, it's not an arena, it's a gym. Will Wade, so good. But Matt McMahon, golly, there's so much reason for optimism around him. I talked about this a little bit yesterday on AFR for those that heard it. LSU, they're 8-1, but their net ranking is 80. 80. You beat Wake Forest, their net ranking is 86. LSU has 8 wins, 6 of them are quad 4. Roughly half of the SEC is ranked. LSU is going to get a very rude awakening when they get to conference play. Now, the good thing is the schedule is backloaded. So after you take a pretty good licking at the start of conference play, you'll have a great chance to finish strong. But man, not... Here's LSU's conference schedule. You open up with 10th ranked Arkansas. Then you're at 13th ranked Kentucky. You're at A&M, which is winnable. You're home against Florida. Then you're at 4th ranked Alabama, home against 19th ranked Auburn, home against 6th ranked Tennessee, at 10th ranked Arkansas. You play Texas Tech. Then you're at Missouri, home against 4th ranked Alabama, at 17th ranked Mississippi State. And then you finish with a very manageable schedule. Your last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, your last 7 league games are all against unranked teams. You play A&M, Georgia, South Carolina, Vandy, Ole Miss, Mizzou, and Florida. So you are going to take a beating early in the conference schedule. But you will have an opportunity to make a strong finish because of how it's set up. So, Jeff McKiffin, good morning. Randy Smith, so stupid, Jesus. Hope Jaden Daniels Jets. He's reached his ceiling. Although he has elite legs, you have greater potential in being able to coach up Nuss. You want the ability downfield? Yeah, because you didn't see any downfield passing this year with LSU. You didn't see downfield passing against Ole Miss or Florida or Alabama. It's just I don't understand. Like, the national consensus on Jaden Daniels is improved this year, even in the passing game. Threw for 2,700 yards. Kuiper has him ranked currently as the 5th best quarterback in this draft. And LSU fans like Randy are crapping on their own player. Like, you don't want a player back for a 5th season of college football. Like, I don't get it. It's like normally fans have to play the disrespect card because their guy doesn't get the credit that they feel he deserves. With Jaden Daniels, there's LSU fans like Randy who just crap on their guy. Like, I don't know how in the world you could say a guy at 21 years old has reached his ceiling. That's just stupid. Like, it's, Randy, I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying that's a stupid thing to say. How you could say someone at that point in his career has reached his ceiling is beyond me. I mean, Josh Allen was playing at Wyoming at this point in his career, and now he's the best quarterback in football. Like, it's, well, he's one of the best quarterbacks in football, certainly debatable. But, like, how you can say that he's reached his ceiling is just mind-numbingly dumb. And how you could say you'd rather not have a guy with 40 career starts back next year is just, it's just nonsensical. And you'd rather latch on to Garrett Nussmeier, who was able to play free in the second half because he was down 25, slung the ball around, still threw a terrible interception in that game, who we saw play extensive really once last year against Arkansas, and he was objectively bad. When he got in against Southern this year, threw two miserable interceptions, including a pick six. I don't understand why you are discrediting the guy that accounted for 65% of your offense and was the main reason you were playing for an SEC championship this year, and propping up a guy who we've barely seen, and the small sample we have seen has been largely objectively bad. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, I can't make sense of that, Randy, at all. And there's too many Randys out there, and that's one of the things that I really hate about the sports media landscape. It's a giant echo chamber. It's a gigantic echo chamber where Randy's probably mentioned that on message boards, or he believes and other people say it. So you latch onto these things when you don't actually know what you're talking about, and you just accept it as reality, which is just dumb. So anyway, Randy, I'm sure you're a great guy. And this isn't a personal attack on you. It's just that sentiment that you have is shared by many, and it's annoying. It's very, very annoying. All right, smash that like button if you would. Drew's backpack is beeping. Hang on one second. I'll come back and do a couple more minutes. Yeah, the other thing is, on top of, so we had a great doctor's visit yesterday with Drew, the cardiologist, but Drew is sick. We took him to the doctor on Friday, and no COVID, no flu, nothing like that, but he's just got a bad cold, so we did keep him home from school yesterday. We're keeping him home again today, so just a little snotty and gunky. So I wanted to come right back because I did see some of y'all pointed this out. I'm looking at it. Ross Dellinger has it, and it is confirmed through the Mississippi State. Yeah, Mississippi State's confirmed it through the Mike Leach family that Mike Leach has died, 61 years old. Man, oh man. You know, I was talking about this yesterday. Well, first and foremost, condolences to everyone associated with Mississippi State and certainly the Leach family. I was talking about this with Musso yesterday before the show, and that this may be morbid, and I don't mean for it to sound morbid, but I've always kind of wondered. I know it's weird to constantly have this on your mind, but I've always wondered about that. Like, I think we just assume coaches are going to live forever, and they'll retire and then die as old men. But what if a really famous coach gets into a car crash or has a heart attack? Or that's he was certainly one of a kind, man. And it's weird that you run across a coach that is that universally liked. You know what I mean? Even opposing fan bases loved Mike Leach because, you know, he's funny and quirky. He has one-offs, the Pirates, all that sort of stuff. He was just, he's an original. So, 61 years old, man. My goodness. Condolences, man. I don't know what else to say. You know, I mean, they'll obviously have the football conversation in Starkville with, you know, who replaces him, et cetera. But that's another conversation for another day. Man, saw Mike Leach at SEC Media Days. Bizarre to think that next year, like, he won't be there. And in the, let's see, we've been going to Media Days now since 2012. I mean, there have been situations where coaches, we would always ask, okay, like, who's not going to be here next year, right? But usually it's in context of, well, that guy's going to get fired, right? Not this, man. Wow. Hug your people, man. Tell them you love them. All right. I don't know that we want to keep going on. I don't know that I want to transition to talk. I don't know that I want to go back and talk sports. So anyway, appreciate all of you for watching every day. And, you know, y'all have a great day. So sorry for the awkward ending here, but, you know, condolences to Mike Leach's family and all the folks associated with State and everybody that knows him or knew him well. So, all right. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you.